Hey, T-Bone, guess what?
Oh my, what is it, my dear Vegas?
Patriots football is back, baby! What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome back, everybody. It is time for football season. And the purpose of today's video is just to kind of give an update on everything happening with the New England Patriots and give our thoughts of where we're at as of right now. So we're going to talk about some of the major moves that New England have made as a team in, free agency front office stuff. And then we're going to talk about where the Patriots are with the preseason with Drake May and everything else. But before we get to do that, I just wanted to let you guys know of a few things and remind you of some stuff that we've got going on. First up, we will have a video coming out this Friday talking about our plans for this upcoming football season, so do stay tuned for that. And the other thing, of course, is that we're also doing our Puppy of the Week segment this fall. Those will be at the end of Power Ranking videos, starting before week 1. So if you want your dogs to be featured on the channel, especially if you have Rottweilers, which may also be featured as characters on the channel in the future, then please be sure to fill out the form. The link is posted down in the description. And with all that being said, let's jump into this thing. So first things first, departures from the New England Patriots. Quarterback Nathan Rourke was released. No big surprise there, especially with drafting 2 quarterbacks. Wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster was released, and it sucks that you're going to have to pay out that contract the next 2 years, eat that dead cap, but Juju was not playing well at all. It was bad. You thought last year was bad. It wasn't getting any better. So, as much as it sucks with how much we paid him and everything that went down with him and Jacoby Myers and whatnot, this was the right decision. And so, yeah, Juju's no longer on the team. Offensive lineman Andrew Stober was waived. Guard's actually kind of a deep position for us, so this makes sense. And then, of course, you have the big one. Linebacker Matthew Judon is no longer a New England Patriot, traded this week to the Atlanta Falcons. The two sides could not agree to a contract. Judon wanted to be paid money that he quite frankly deserves for the performances he has put in, but he's 32, coming off a major injury, and the Patriots don't want to spend that kind of money on him. So both sides I understand completely. And so New England traded him to the Falcons. They let Matthew Judon choose between the Bears and the Falcons. He chose the Falcons. They got a 3rd-round pick in return. I'm happy with that return. It's a rebuild move. Our defense is going to be without probably its best player. And he provided a bit of bite to our rush that was kind of missing last year, even though our defense is still very effective. But I think we'll be able to work without him. I think we played well without him last year, and we'll only be better without him this year. So I think losing him will definitely make us worse, but I still think we're going to be good. So this sucks, but this is kind of where it had to go, and I know he's unhappy. He really wanted to retire here, and I can't blame him. It's a great place to retire, no bias or anything, but yeah, that's what's up there. And so those are your departures. And moving on to the signs, you have wide receiver Jaquay Jackson. Don't actually know if he's going to make the roster. He's one of those guys who is kind of right on the edge. He's shown some flashes in the preseason, but we're going to have to see because we actually do have a considerable number of wide receivers to choose from. You have outside linebacker Oshane Ximenez, who so far has actually been pretty impressive in training camp and preseason, and I could definitely see him making the roster. I don't know how many minutes he would get in the regular season because we are pretty good at linebacker, but he seems like a good young prospect and excited about that. And then we have kicker Joey Sly, who I really like this signing. and I think he is most certainly going to win the starting job over Chad Ryland. And I don't think he's going to be, Justin Tucker or anything like that, but I do fully expect him to be much better than Ryland was last year, and I'll have a lot more confidence in our ability to win games, because I think people don't understand a big reason why we lost as many games as we did was Ryland. Ryland missed a lot of field goals in three-point games. So I think this is a big signing for New England. Sly has looked really good in free agency, or in training camp, and in preseason, so really happy with that. And now looking at extensions, and this is the big one. Ramondre Stevenson extended. I absolutely love this. Love Ramondre. He's been a great back for us. I'm looking forward to him having a good year this year. We're going to be a more run-oriented offense. He's going to get to show off his skills, and I'm excited about this one. Center, Calvin Anderson. Absolutely love this. Anderson has been an anchor for our offensive line for years, and he is still very good and playing at a high level. Very happy with this. Defensive lineman, Christian Barmore. Excellent extension. He is a long-term Patriot, a young player of the future who had a breakout year last year and deserved everything he's getting. Defensive tackle, Devon Godshaw. Godshaw's been another very solid player on the defense for us. Very happy with that signing. Linebacker, Jelani Tavai. Jelani Tavai has been really good for us as well. Love that. You can see we're really focused on extending this defensive core. You also have safety Jabril Peppers got an extension. Couldn't be more happy about that. Peppers has been fabulous for us, and not ailing him long term, I think, is a really big deal. So those are all the major transactions. There's a lot of minor stuff I didn't really get into because it doesn't mean as much. But those are the big things that I wanted to focus on. T-Bone, your thoughts on all of this?
I've got, I'd say I've got a thought about each of the things, each of the sections, I'll say. I don't agree with all the talk about Juju. I think he could be very good. I'm not going to blame the Pats for releasing him. I still think because he hasn't been signed yet, I think he's a very valuable free agent. I don't blame you guys for getting rid of him. That, I don't blame. It's just, I do think he's good enough to be on the team. As for the signings, I love the Joey Sly signing. I think that's great. No disrespect to Ryland. There were a couple of games last year when it was literally down to him. And it was inconsistent because sometimes he was good, but sometimes he wasn't good. And you can't have that inconsistency. And as far as extensions, one that speaks to me, I guess, is Jabril Peppers. I think he's great. Holding on to as many defensive pieces as you can is just great. So I guess that's my 3 cents on this matter.
Yeah, I mean, locking down the young core long term, really happy about it. Hoping Sly is as successful as I think he's going to be. I think having him alone is going to win us a couple more games. And I actually have seen a lot of Patriots fans this week reminiscing on Twitter about Ryland's missed kick against the Giants because, that's the difference between us getting Drake May and the Giants getting Drake May, which, with how good Drake May looked in the preseason, there's definitely some implications from that game, and I think that's a perfect segue into talking about Drake May and, where the Patriots are at with him and just in general right now. So Drake May has shown a lot of improvement since the draft. The Patriots really put a lot of effort into his footwork, and the improvement is noticeable. Now, he still definitely has a lot of stuff to work on with that footwork. There's still issues, but where he was last year and where he is now with that, you can really tell that the Patriots put in the effort to fix that, because that is a major issue. And footwork was an issue with Mac Jones, and you saw his inability to navigate the pocket really affected him, and May is much more athletic than Jones, so May will be able to escape and make tougher throws and whatnot. So that is a really good thing, and May made some really beautiful throws. He had good pocket presence, made some good decisions, had a few off throws, had some inaccuracy issues. You saw the high pass, it was a little out to Keyshawn Boutte, who I hope makes the roster, by the way. I really like him. Booty had a really nice one-handed grab on that play, but May put it way too high. Like, you can see the accuracy issues are still there, and so you got to work on that. He also had some very beautiful throws, very accurate deep ball to Javon Baker, which Baker unfortunately dropped, and he was very mad at himself about that. I think Baker's going to work through his issues. He's had a few hands issues, although one or two of those throws could have been better or in better spots. But May has shown a lot of improvement, decent pocket presence, better footwork, some accuracy issues, a few read issues, and I don't know how much of that is what he's been coached to do, or if he's just like makes a decision pre-snap and doesn't bother to read the defense. You saw that with a couple of those go routes, especially the one to Baker in the first half of their game against the Eagles. But, I mean, we got a good look at him against Philadelphia, and there was a lot to like. Again, rookie, playing against a vanilla defense, so you don't really know what it's going to be like when you actually get to the regular season. And so I think the big question for the Patriots is, what do you do with him? Because you also have Jacoby Brissett, who didn't look as good, actually. Now, Brissett didn't get the same amount of playing time as May did. It was more like a warm-up for Jacoby. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. I think Jacoby's experience and knowledge is going to win him the starting job at the start of the season. And I think also the other factor, too, is if you start Drake May at the beginning of the season and it all goes wrong, pulling him mid-season to put Jacoby in can be a huge confidence killer. It can really screw with the development. It's a smarter move to keep Jacoby as the starter, at least for the start of the season. Like, you don't want to wait till, week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then at some point put May in as the starter once he's really gotten a chance to learn and figure it out. Or if Jacoby's just not doing well and you want to give May a shot, I would think that's better than starting May week 1. What the Patriots should really do is start May when he is ready. And while I definitely liked what I saw, more so than I was expecting to, because y'all remember I was pretty critical of him going into the draft. I didn't want him, but, I liked what I saw the last couple of weeks. He still definitely has things to work on, and I'm curious what it's going to be like once he faces full NFL defenses, not backups playing vanilla schemes, and how that's going to look. So it'll be really interesting to see how that situation develops. But as of right now, I do expect Jacoby Brissett to be the week 1 starter. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It is never a sin to sit a high draft QB and let him learn. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's in fact very encouraged. It should be. I even though Bryce Young played through nearly all the game except for one, which I don't know if it hindered or helped his development. I personally think it's not bad at all to have a really raw prospect like Drake May sit and to keep sitting until he's ready. A good veteran like Jacoby Brissett can teach him a lot. And there's nothing wrong with having Jacoby start. So it was really good to get that footwork worked on just because of how raw Drake May was and how much he was able to absorb and really apply to his game. I don't think it's bad to have him sit and learn at all. I don't. I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about raw. You said he was raw. He honestly still really is raw. And just because they've improved some of his biggest issues doesn't mean that there still aren't issues and he still doesn't need to learn. So, with Brissett, you have an opportunity to really develop May and get him comfortable with everything without it having to be trial by fire. Because a lot of quarterbacks who could be good end up failing because you give them trial by fire, mostly because they don't have a choice. Most of the time, it's a situation where the team can't attract any sort of even decent mid or low tier starting quarterback to the team to be like a bridge or something like that, so the youngsters end up getting thrown straight into the fire. and the fire overwhelms, especially being on bad football teams. You talk about Drake May, you have an experienced veteran quarterback in Jacoby Brissett for him to learn behind, and you actually have, I think, a better roster than people give the Patriots credit for. I'm seeing a lot of people say it's basically guaranteed that the Patriots get a top 5 pick at the end of the season, and I think that is a little bit naive. And I don't think people understand, number one, just how badly injured the New England Patriots were last year and how much that contributed to a lot of the losses that we had. And two, I think the other thing is the kicking game. Having Joey Sly is a big upgrade over Chad Ryland. And, Ryland makes like half the kicks he missed last year. We win one or two more games. You talk about an O-line that's still going to have issues, especially at tackle, but it's going to be better than what we had last year if they can stay healthy, which Cole Strange already out. So that's lovely. We'll have to be without him for the start of the season. But once Strange comes back, you're looking at a starting offensive line of whoever they feel most comfortable with out of Lowe, Chukwama, and Wallace. And then that would be the left tackle most likely. Then you look at Strange left guard, Andrews center, Sal right guard, and Onwenu right tackle. That is a very solid offensive line. And as big as the issues are with the left tackle, Lowe has shown a lot of improvement, especially with his hands. Still has some issues to work on, but he'll be better than last year. Wallace has shown a lot of promise. Robinson has showed a lot of promise at the guard position. Onwenu is just a beast who can play guard or tackle. I'm hoping that they put him at tackle and let Robinson start in the offensive guard in the interim for Cole Strange, so that the line can get used to playing like that, so then when Strange comes back, they can just slot him in at guard, although I'd probably start Robinson next to Onwenu and give Sal left guard, and then put Sal back on the right guard when Strange gets back and let him play on the left. But either way, I think the Patriots' offensive line, especially the interior, is very solid. Left tackle's the big concern, but if Wallace, Lowe, or Okorafor can all, grow and develop, I think that's good. Lowe's gotten better. Okorafor has shown a lot of effort and shown some promise. Wallace, same thing. So I think the Patriots' offensive line situation is better than people give it credit for, but still some issues. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. You talk about having Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson in the running back room. That's an upgrade from last year. And we're going to be a run-first football team. We've made that pretty clear. And we have the offensive line to be a run-first football team, especially with Andrew Sal and Onwenu. So I think that we're in a good position there. The offense will not be electric or fun to watch or crazy, I don't think. Like, we're not going to go from what in the world am I watching, can I please claw my eyes out, to the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens or the San Francisco 49ers or the Miami Dolphins overnight. We're still in a rebuild, and it still will take time to build up this team. But, in general, I like where we're at. I think the wide receiver core is solid. I think it's better than people give it credit for. Kendrick Bourne, good wide receiver. KJ Osborne, good wide receiver. Demario Douglas, good wide receiver. And then you talk about rookies, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. Polk has looked really good. I've liked what I've seen out of him. Baker has shown talent and flashes, but he definitely has stuff that he's got to work on. He's let himself get bodied on the line a little bit, had go routes just completely disrupted, forced out of bounds, and then he's had a few hands issues. I think Baker is a very talented player, and he's just really raw and needs to work on getting himself figured out. But I think once Baker gets himself figured out, even if it takes a year or two, he'll be a good asset for this team. Polk has already shown some flashes. He obviously has a few things to work on. But in general, I've liked what I've seen of him. So I think, we will not have the Miami Dolphins or San Francisco 49ers wide receiver core. But we're going to have a decent young core to work with. And if Booty also is able to develop, that's really good too. I've seen some flashes at him I really liked. I hope he makes the roster. Jalen Rieger might make the roster as a wide receiver, although he'd probably be a 6th or 7th option, and they'd use him more for kick returning. I think Marcus Jones will probably be the punt returner because he excelled at that. And he's back from injury finally. So, but in general, I'm pretty happy with all that. And then defense looks solid. Obviously, the trade of Matthew Judon is a really, 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 really big deal. And losing him sucks. But I think we're set up to succeed without him. And I mean, it's unfortunate what happened with Judon. He really wanted to stay a Patriot. He wanted to get paid. He deserves to be paid, but you think about it from the Patriots' perspective, you're coming off of a major injury, 32 years old. Not a lot of guys in that position excel after that age, especially coming off a major injury. So while Judon definitely deserves to get paid for his contributions to the team, it made sense why the Patriots wouldn't want to pay him as much as he wanted, and it just didn't work out. And they gave him his pick between Chicago and Atlanta. He chose Atlanta and sent him off there. Got a 3rd rounder out of it. It's good for the rebuild. Our defensive rush will be missing a bit of bite this year, but I still think we'll be very good on the defensive side of the ball. I still think we're very solid in all positions, and we're going to be a tough team to score on. And that's the thing. The defense will keep us in football games. You're just going to see, can the offense do enough to win them for us? But overall, I feel good about the direction of the Patriots. I can see us maybe sneaking in a wild card spot. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't anticipate us being a bottom 5 team. I think somewhere around in between 10 and 15 is a relatively realistic spot for us. So kind of middle of the pack, a little below middle of the pack. I think we're better than people think we are. As long as we stay healthy, we'll be good. And it's a rebuild. Rome wasn't built in a day. The 2000 Patriots were not good. I think they finished 5-11. Then you talk about the 2001 Patriots, they won the Super Bowl. So even if this year isn't a great year, this year is a stepping stone, and everything is working out well for us. We'll have a ton of cap next year to work with. Good young core, so excited about all of it. I think we'll have a decent team, and it'll be interesting to see how they develop and how it goes with the rebuild. T-Bone, any thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think y'all are going to be a wild card team. That's outlandish. I was going to sit happily and say, nope, no final thoughts, and then you said that. That's crazy talk. Listen,
I don't think it's as crazy as you think it is.
Come back to reality, Vegas. We miss you. Please. Listen.
Okay.
No, hold on.
What's the goal for wild card? The goal is 9 wins. We won 4 games last year with a team so decimated by injuries. The last 5 Baltimore Ravens teams combined looked at that and said, "Holy crap!" And you also talk about special teams issues and offense issues, and those if we have a 4-game stretch where we allow 10 or less points and lose 3 of those games or 4 of those games, that's not happening this year. The offense will produce more than 0 in every game.
I do think that you guys have made the right choices on every single side of the ball, which is important. Every single one, offense, defense, even with losing Judon, defense and special teams, you guys have made the right choices, even coaching. Now, I still don't know how I feel about letting go of Bill, but I mean, picking Gerard Mayo is good. So you guys have got the right ideas and stuff. And I freaking love Antonio Gibson. I think he was great. I think he's gonna freaking ball out because I do. I watched kind of the run game a little bit in Washington because I had Robinson last year as my running back on fantasy. But the run game's nice. So you're going to get a valuable piece out of him. But overall, other than that, I mean, no thoughts. You guys have made the right marks on every side of the ball, I'd say. I ain't going to say y'all are making the wild card. That's crazy. That's so insane.
I never said we're going to make the wild card. I said I think that is within the realm of possibility. And I do
Yeah, oh
think
yeah.
so. Like if we pull a 2022 Minnesota Vikings and win like all of our one-score games, I can see us easily making the wild card because I
Don't
think we're
remind
going
me.
to be
Don't
in.
remind me. Don't remind me about the 22 Vikings. They hurt me. They hurt me. I thought they'd go far, and they got whacked by Danny Dimes.
I saw that collapse coming so far ahead. It was so fun when I got to see it. You know, I was like, the Giants are winning that game, and it's gonna be so hilarious, and they did, and I loved it. Yeah, no, that Vikings team was one of the biggest house of cards I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Hey, don't disrespect Kirko like that. Big
I'm
Kirko
not
stay dripping.
disrespecting Kirko. It's the rest of the team that was the house of cards.
Like what?
Uh,
Like
defense, running back.
offense? You mean Dalvin Cook? You mean 1,000-yard rusher
Was
Dalvin Cook? You
Dalvin
mean
Cook
Justin?
still a Viking in 22?
Dog, he was 1,000-yard rusher.
Listen, man, time is dead in my mind.
Dude, I believe it, man. I was crazy on Jalen Hurts, then I forgot of last year. I forgot last year
You
happened.
forgot last year happened. Last year was something. I don't know. I can see Hurts bouncing back, but it'll be interesting to see how all that goes. It'll be interesting to see how he does without Jason Kelsey as his center. And I'm curious if his like stance is going to change because he had like a weird stance because of the way Kelsey snapped the ball.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got off a little side tangent, but I mean, I think the Patriots have made generally the right moves for the long-term success of the franchise. This year is going to be a year of growth, of building, of learning. We have a very young team, a very young core, and of course a very, very young quarterback who we're hoping is going to be the future of this franchise and lead us to the playoffs and to Super Bowl victories. So this year isn't going to be, the year where we make the playoffs and go on a run and win a Super Bowl. But it's still going to be a good year to watch for New England, an interesting year to watch and see how they grow, how they learn, how they develop, and really learn what this young team is made of and what we think they can do in the future, especially if we're able to attract desirable targets like Brandon Ayuk, who turned down a lot of money to come here.
A lot of money.
Because he didn't like the quarterback situation, then he preferred Pittsburgh, which I don't know about that quarterback situation.
I tried to defend Ayuk. That's crazy.
That
So okay.
miss was insane.
You have two things: cold weather and bad QBs. He goes, I don't want either, and then he goes to frickin' Pittsburgh.
Well, I mean, that's not official yet. He might end up with San Francisco when it's all said and done.
He's pulling a Debo. 2 years ago.
Listen, man, stuff do be crazy. But yeah, in the end, happy with where we're at. We'll talk more about the Patriots here in a couple of weeks. Panthers version of this video coming out on Thursday, same time. Be on the lookout for, of course, the announcements video on Friday, and of course we will continue to be releasing our Mario Strikers Charge content. That tournament is still ongoing, so be sure to check that stuff out as well if you haven't already. So with all that being said, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. Please be sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.